Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. In this video, we're going to look at how we can use DeepSeek R1 model, by different ways. So there are different ways you can use this model. So we're going to use Ollama and we're going to inference this with different frameworks, libraries, and through user interfaces. So if you haven't used DeepSeek R1 yet, this is the video for you. So we're going to start with downloading the model from Ollama and then running it within the terminal. Then we're going to use that through Open WebUI, which is also by Ollama. That basically provides you a way to inference or use these AI models or large language models through a user interface. Then we're also gonna use Chainlit and Streamlit, the other GUI, libraries and frameworks to work with AI models or any kind of models in general. So let's jump in and see how we can start using these models. Now, if you look at here on my screen, I'm on DeepSeek R1 Ollama page. So if you don't know what Ollama is, it's basically a framework that helps you inference large language models on compute limited devices. So for example, if you do not have high compute power like GPUs and so on and so forth, you can use Ollama. Basically it's a tool, so you can use that to run this model either on CPU or single GPUs or multiple GPUs as well. Now if you look at here, it says DeepSeek's first generation of reasoning models, with comparable performance, blah blah blah. Now, if you don't know what DeepSeek is, it has created havoc in globally. It's already wiped out, hell lot of money in the market out there, which have been, I'll say, monopolized by companies like Nvidia, for example. So their model has performed really well, and it's open source. Now, if you haven't used it yet, how can you use this, right? Because the if you want to use the model in full capacity without any kind of quantizations techniques or any kind of techniques which basically helps you compress the size of the model, then you need GPUs to do that, and really high end GPUs to work, because it's really a heavy model. Now what Ollama has done it, if you look at here on the drop down, they have this model weights variants available from 1.5 billion up to 671 billion, which is the default model. For 671B, you can still use Ollama, and the requirement of that size will be around 404 GB just for the storage, and you need again the compute power to run it. Now we're gonna start with 1.5B. So what I'm going to do is use terminal. So I'm gonna open terminal here. Now in this terminal, I'm gonna first show you Ollama list. If you don't have Ollama, you can just download it from here. If you look at on the top right hand side, if you have a button called download. If you click on download, it will ask you for which operating system you are using. If you are on Linux, it will be a different ways to use, download it or install it through a command. And if you are on Windows, you have to install after downloading it, and same goes with Mac as well. Now here I already have Ollama. So for example, if you look at, I already have three models available. DeepSeek R1 1.5B that I just downloaded 1 hour ago just to create this video. I have other llamas model available over here. If you want to, get rid of any model, you can just do RM and the model name, right? That's basically means delete. If you don't know how to use Ollama, you can just probably do Ollama help. It will show you the list of commands. So the first thing that we should see is pull command. Now, if you do not have any models available, with to use with Ollama, you first have to pull a model. So this is how you can pull a model. Just come here and just copy this. Now it already has run, so it basically first pulls it and then it will run it after verifying it and stuff. But the always good thing to first pull it and then run it. So you can just come here and paste, and you can just replace this run with pull, and it will start downloading it. And once it is done, you can just do Ollama run to run the same model. Now I'm just gonna run the same model, here. And once you do that, it will first show you, first time if you're doing it, it will first say pulling manifest. It will download some files. It will validate with SHA-256 to make sure that you have downloaded the file which is not corrupted, and so on and so forth. And here I'm gonna, when it says send a message, it means that you can start asking questions. I'm gonna say write fast API code to call a REST API. Excuse me. And when you do that, the model will start giving you the answers. Of course, it's a reasoning model, so it's gonna first show the thinking behind the answer that it's gonna generate. So you can see it first gives you some verbose about what kind of thinking it has gone through, and then it gives you the comprehensive answer below, right? Now, which is fantastic for a model of size like 1.1 billion params, right? Which is really good, and it's a really good model, and that's fantastic for the open source community to work with. Now, this is how you can do it. Now, the thing is, this is running in your terminal. How can you do that through an user interface, right? So for that, we're gonna use Open WebUI. So for that, if you come here, I have a VS Code folder. It's called DeepSeek bid. Okay, I'll just get rid of this. Now, Open WebUI is again a tool created by Ollama. If you go on the GitHub, you can find it out where you can, use these Ollama models through a user interface with a lot of personalizations, features, and options. So there are two ways you can run it. You can run it through command and you can run it through Docker as well. I have Docker installed in my system, so I'm going to use Docker. So what I'm using here, I'm using Docker Compose, and this is a YAML file to basically, define all your configurations or whatever you call it. So I'm here using services. Now in the services, I'm using Ollama, and this is the image name. So if you go to, let me show you that. Come here on, and when you click on Ollama latest, this is the Docker Hub where all the official images are listed. Now this is what we are using. We are using Ollama/Ollama, the easiest way to get up and running with the LLMs, blah, 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 up to 10 million plus downloads. That's huge. So we are using Ollama official Docker image. Over here, that's what we have defined. We have given a name because we're gonna run this particular, you're gonna call it program. Let's call it program, right? The Ollama program within a container, and we can ship this container to other colleagues, other friends, and they can use it as it is if they have Docker installed. That's how easy it is to work with Docker. Now, I have my container name, and there are some volumes. Basically, we mount the volumes. This is where it stores in a folder. This runs on 11434 ports. That's where it run it, and restart unless it's stopped. You can restart. And now this is about the Ollama, the first service. The second service we are using is Open WebUI. So if you come here, GHCR means GitHub Container Registry. We have different types of container registry where the Docker images are hosted. So we have ACR, Azure Container Registry. We have ECR, Elastic Container Registry on AWS. We have GCR, Google Container Registry on GCP. And simultaneously, we also have GHCR for GitHub. So if you look at here, that's what it is. This is how you go to Open WebUI. You can pull this, install from the command line. And if you come to Open WebUI, there's a GitHub repository over 66 stars. This is fantastic. This is how it looks like. A very good looking user interface, well similar to ChatGPT, but of course it has its own features. Now let's come back to the Docker compose.yaml file. I'm giving the container a name, and I'm mapping because it's on 8080. I'm mapping that with port 3000. So you have to just do localhost 3000 to get the user interface. Of course, mount the volume. Host, this is really important, guys. Most of the time you'll get error, so make sure you have it is, host.docker.internal host gateway. And even before running it, if you're on a Windows machine, make sure the Docker daemon is running, right? So if you look at here, I have my Docker daemon running over here, right? The Docker desktop, and then I am just have these two volumes to run it. That's how easy it is. If you are having no knowledge about Docker Compose, you can also use Docker file, right? You can just create a Docker file and define that in the Docker commands, and you can also run it, right? Now, to use this, I already have used it. So I'm just gonna say Docker Compose up. Now, when you do Docker Compose up for the first time, if you haven't used Open Web UI, it's gonna take up to 10 minutes because it's going to download and pull a lot of images. It has to get some embeddings models in the form of sentence transformers, and it's gonna do a lot of things. So you have to be patient about it. And once you start seeing Uvicon running on port 8080, come here and just do localhost 3000. Now, when I do localhost 3000, you can find out that I get this user interface. You will not get this user interface if you are running it for the first time. For the first time, it will ask you to create an account and then automatically logs you in. Now here, if you look at on the top, here we have all the models listed, starting from DeepSeek to blah, 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 llamas. And in the DeepSeek, it's already selected. You can see it over here. You can start asking questions like write a Python script to fine tune whisper model, on a given local audio data set and something like that. Now, it takes your questions, give it to the DeepSeek model, makes sure that you can see it says thinking. So it gives you thinking over here, which is fantastic, right? If you look at, if you use Deep Chat, DeepSeek, if you are going on DeepSeek website, or whatever, they have built a tool where you can also interact the same way you interact with ChatGPT, and it also gives you in a similar fashion. Now, make sure that you have Ollama running locally, then only it will work. If it's not working, then make sure you have Ollama, ensure the model is right there, and then you have Docker host internal setup, correctly. If you have these three things, this will definitely work. You can see it over here, and make sure the ports are not engaged, with other processes. If that's so, you can go to task manager, or you can just kill the port from terminal, depending on what operating system you are using. Now, this is the output that we have got, which is fantastic, right? Now, if you look at here, it says to implement fine-tuning the visual model in a local audio data set, you will need to pre-process the audio data, extract relevant features, blah, blah, blah. It says is use Librosa to load, extract features like MFCC, male frequency systole coefficient. My bad. That helps you to extract features from the audio files. You have bunch of codes, of course, load an example, extract features, save that in NumPy using NumPy for later compute. This makes sense. Model output size. Okay, this is less. Maybe you can increase that depending on the GPUs. Looks good. This looks good, but not a comprehensive code, but that's fine. We're using a very small model. This will not work in real production settings. It's not enough. But that's a very good response. Right now, this is Open WebUI. You can do a lot of things going here in the settings. You can personalize this interface completely if you want notifications, blah, 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 like completely personalized way, right? Manage memory, very similar to ChatGPT. So this is Open WebUI. Now I'll just close this. So I'm going to stop it. So I'm going to do Control C. And when you come here and run it again, it should not work. It will give me site can't be reached because I just dropped the container. Now, if I just do Docker PS, you can see there is no container running. When you do Docker PS, it means there's no container which is running. When you do Docker images, you can find out all the existing images. You can see I have a lot of images over here, Open WebUI, Ollama, Git ingest, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to clear this up. And when I clear this up, the next two things, I'll just say two things, like the most important thing is the chainlit things. Like if you want to create your own interface, you can also do it. So I'm using Chainlit. For that, I have a requirements file. I have Chainlit Streamlit Ollama installed. Now in the Chainlit, I have a file called deepseek underscore chainlit.py. Now here I have import Chainlit as CL, import Ollama, and import JSON. So Chainlit has different decorators that they have created. Using those decorators, you can basically call a specific program within your application. So for example, if you look at here on my screen, the first decorator is called cl dot underscore on message. Now in this, I have a main function, and I'm saying create a message dictionary instead of using message object. This is fine. This is basically a way we define system prompts, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm first saying create a message first. So it basically creates a message and await. And it says create a stream with Ollama. We need streaming responses. So basically this can stream. Now here I am passing the model name, which is DeepSeek R1 1.5p. Messages equal messages. This is coming from here. And then this message dot content come from the users. You can see it over here. And then stream true. Stream the response token by token. This is fine. And then we just wait for the message to get updated. Now here we have, once this is defined, we have on chat start. So what happens when you start the chat, right? So this is what happens. So to run this, let's run it. Where can we run it? Okay, we cannot run it over here. We have to run it, yes, with VNV is activated. This is how you run it. You run it through chainlit run DeepSeek underscore chainlit.py. When you just run this, it will run your code on localhost 8000, automatically opens up. So you can see it over here. It says, hello AI anytime. How can I help you today? And you can do a bunch of things over here. You can ask like, okay, what is what is write a blog post on AI ethics. And when I do that, you can see it's thinking, okay, so I need to write a blog post about AI ethics. You can see the streaming responses, and it gives you the answer over here. And this is the DeepSeek model that we are using in the background, right? Now, let's ask it about there are a lot of controversy that's happening, guys. When it comes to this model, people are asking political questions, controversial questions. I don't think AI technology is developed for those kind of questions. When people ask about Taiwan or Arunachal Pradesh, which is a very hostile place right now, I'll say, like, for both China and our country. So it's a hostile territory, right? So and very controversial to ask this question. I think we should use it for impactful things, not probably creating controversies by asking stupid questions. That's not why this technology is being developed, to bring a subjective opinion on something which a technology should not answer, right? So keep this in mind, not asking stupid questions, right? Now here, what I'm going to do is uh, show you the Streamlit thing. So this is how Chainlit works. So we already saw Ollama terminal, Open WebUI, Chainlit. The next thing we can also look at is, I'll just cut this. The next thing we're going to look at is Streamlit, of course. So let's have a look at Streamlit, and you can see could not reach the server because I just disconnected it. That's fine. Now I already have a Streamlit, and this will be available for you, so you can just go through it. Very simple. I'm using chat with DeepSeek. You are a helpful AI assistant. User input to take the input, chat input. I'm using a chat input and displaying chat history with new input. If a new user input, process it. There's a session that we manage in Streamlit. Otherwise, it gets auto refreshed, and then the pretty much this is very similar, right? That you use in Chainlit. Very similar. At least not this part. This is the chunking part, but this is similar. That we define the completions, and then we're just using session state dot messages dot append. Now let's run this as well. To run this, we're gonna use here Streamlit, run DeepSeek, and it opens on 85.1, the port. And here you can also ask, and you can see chat with DeepSeek. Let's say, what is AI and its five applications or something like that. Okay, I'm asking this question: what is AI and its five applications? It's thinking, and basically answers you. Okay, uh, as it is streaming, this might not be the right way to chunk it and stream it. Maybe the right. I don't know. There can be different other ways. You can see how it's, basically it scrolls, try to automatically scrolls it, and it basically does not look pleasing to the eyes, right? It has to wait for all the streams to get completed and then print the output. But yeah, that's fine. So you can use it, stream it as well. Now what you can also do, you can build racks, and stuff on top of it. I have 40 plus videos on racks. Just take any code and just replace the model with DeepSeek, and it will work the same way, right? This model has nothing to do with RAG and all. Like, those are more retrieval and embeddings and chunking and a lot of other techniques. Models are just going to synthesize the retrieved documents for you, right? Now you can see it over here. It has answered you, right? And some applications, and you can use these frameworks, tools on top of it now to build chatbots and agentic flows and blah 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 to make it user presentable, right? If you just run it on the terminal, people might not like it. Okay, and you can use same with the DeFi as well. If you want to use DeFi plus Ollama, I already have a video on it, so go and watch that video. Now I just wanted to cover this quickly for people who have not used DeepSeek, using different ways, right? You might have questioned how should I use it. So this is how you can use it. Now I hope you liked the video. If you have any question, thoughts, or feedbacks, let me know in the comment box. You can also reach out to me through my social media channels. Find those information on channel banner and channel about us. Let me know what crazy things that you are building with DeepSeek. And if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe the channel, guys. And please hit the like icon to like the video and share this video and channel with your friends and to peer. That's all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.